Hello everybody, this is CheapyGC of YouTube. I'm sorry in advance that you may hear some outdoor noises, it's kinda hot in my room and I feel like I need to open up the window, so if you hear some traffic noises, I do apologize in advance for that. That being said though, I'm still recording today's episode of Drawing the Talk, you know? Before we get on to today's episode, though, I want to give a bit of an update of related to my Fanime Penalty X. I did give out the lines to those that needed to do their lines, and I got to do my lines for Moxanne because, of course, I voiced her. And luckily, it's with people that I may have faith with turning in the lines. I gave them a deadline, so then everything will be Gucci. So yeah. Everything is Gucci. And I forgot if I mentioned this in the last episode, but I did do a Twitter poll on this, although I did like a sequel to the Twitter poll I did for the previous episode. And, well, I did it like between the short-lived anime review series that I tried to do, and I did it between that and role-playing. And for some unknown reason, the former has much more votes than the latter. I am not shitting you. I don't know why, given the fact that a lot of people that follow me on Twitter have more experience with me role-playing than me doing my shitty anime reviews back when I did in 2013, but, you know, we're gonna get to that. But who knows, I think people are just sick of me talking about role-playing, that they rather hear about me talking about my short-lived anime review show. So what was my short-lived anime review show? Well, it's basically me trying to review some anime that was like... basically, the style of way I review anime is basically ripping off my friend KHF, because honestly, he was like the main inspiration of how I review shit back in the day. I mean, granted, before I did rip off KHF, I also did a review of Project Eiko, an 80s anime movie from 1986. I almost said 1996, oops. But at that time, I didn't know shit about reviewing. Heck, to be quite honest, I still don't know shit about reviewing unless it's reviewing my own content, to be quite fair. But, you know, I still did not know shit about reviewing, and honestly, I was kind of inspired by another anime reviewer at the time, back when he was still active. But before he kind of retired from reviewing, at the time, when it was current, he was known as the hard mode, but, you know, before then, he was known as Who's Your Anime. And, you know, there was some reviewers that got my inspiration at the time. There was, the Angry Video Game Nerd and the Nostalgia Critic, back when they actually do stuff with heart. To some anime reviewers like, Glass Reflections, JC Otaku, Giguk, back when he does anime reviews instead of like, you know, what he does now, which, don't get me wrong, they're still pretty entertaining, but, you know, they're very different to how he reviews shit back in the day. But in all honesty, during the time when I made my short-lived anime review show, my main inspiration was KHF, McAwesome, and before his, first account got terminated, he was known as Ultimate UKFFFM. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but, you know, I'll just put the text right there in the video. Yeah. And during the time when I was starting to make my short-lived anime review series, there was that whole storyline within his videos where Takia from Deers is like the main villain. I am not shitting you. And like, that sort of inspired me to have my own storyline as well as having my own characters in my review show. Like I said, I'm not really shitting you. This is legit. And just to make comparisons, I know that KHF has rebooted the reboot to make the character KHF, he'd be like a mad scientist to what the character once was. That sounded weird. But anyways, you know, there were characters that were beside KHF. Now, they're mostly anime characters. I mean, you have, and some video game characters. I mean, you have, of course, Emma Sky, and then you have Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, and then you have Tamaki from Ouran High School Host Club, and you have Chrono from Chrono Crusade, being part of KHF's crew. So, young me was like, if KHF could do it, then so could I! So, but, you know, instead of using anime characters, I actually just made up my own characters. I mean, of course, if you've known me for quite a while, you remember my character, Star Marie, who started out as a Digicarrot recolor. Cause let's just face it, even before I started doing reviews and shit, I still wanted to make my own Emma Sky character for some reason, because, it only started out this way because, at the time, KHF hated Emma Sky, and now he doesn't, but, like, it just started with, there's some videos of KHF of him bickering with Emma Sky. Like I said, I am not shitting you. I honestly, just thinking about it, it does sound a little ridiculous, but, you know, I guess you just have to let the ridiculousness of these things flow. I know that I worded it very horribly, but you get what I mean. And there were other characters in my short-lived anime review series as well. There was Pipin, the green-haired, calm yet sadistic character. You might have seen her in one of my completed maps, which is the Rockefeller Street MAP. And you also have Iteraria, which I know some of you may recognize if you are part of the apartment RP that was hosted on Creative Studio Forum before the plug has been pulled. And just to screw everybody's minds over, I also have like a little sister character in that show named Gisco. Again, I am not fucking with you. You know, I bet that there's some motherfucker right now that's making a drinking game out of me saying, I am not kidding you, I am not shitting you, I am not fucking with you. I'm pretty sure people are gonna be dead at this point. Now, from what I can gather, there were two anime that actually did a review at that point. One was, and please don't judge me for saying the name of this anime. I was going through a rough time and I ended up watching this really morally confusing anime at the time because I was depressed a lot worse back in the day than I am now. The anime I watched was Mine. I gotta regret watching it, but you know, there were some gems from that show, like that one screenshot of the character who is in love with the main character, but you know, she's not, yeah. But there's this character that, like, is one of the more normal characters, and she was saying to the guy who has a crush on this other character, who refers to the main character as Darling, or is like, Danma-sama, which kind of means husband, I believe. I remember that there was a review that made comparisons of Rizumine to Urusei Yatsuda, making Urusei Yatsuda look better by comparison, which I'll get to talk about Urusei Yatsuda in another video. But anyways, this one character that's referring to this other character who has a crush on this other female character, she says to this guy by saying, real life is not like anime. I'm just like, yep, thank you, fam. I mean, I guess I really should have shot myself more in the foot with a bazooka when talking about this show, but luckily, I feel like I'm not the only one in the Fanime community that's heard about the show. I know two people that knows about this show. I talk with the two of them and having the knowledge that they know about the show. I'm not gonna say who they were because, again, I'm not an asshole. But all I can say is, I at least know that they exist. Another anime that I remember reviewing at the time was the anime Violinist of Hameln, which is like both the TV series and the movie. I do enjoy, I think I remember I enjoyed quite both. Although the TV series does have a much greater disadvantage because the animation of that show was so lacking that if those that are still complaining about Sailor Moon Crystal's first season's animation should look back on this anime. Now, I know that people are gonna say that it was the 90s and therefore it has an excuse, but Sailor Moon Stars, there were some other animes at the time that animate better than Violinist of Hameln. And there were also some planned reviews as well, like I was planning to review both Air and Clannad at the time, but as a sandstorm in a desert, depression hits real fucking hard. And I remember that before I kind of quit doing my anime review show, I did do some skits. I'm pretty sure some of you are familiar with the CG segment Movie Night, which this is like the original inception. It has the original inception of Con Eris, aka Macy Maincore. And those that were in bracelets would be like, oh shit, this is where Macy originated from? How disappointing. So going back to my main point, yeah, depression was hitting really hard. It was not fun, and you know, it was at that point that I wanted to continue on with trying to get Penalty All About into a visuals department. Everything goes back to Penalty All About. I just noticed. But yeah, that was that. That was the story of my short-lived anime review series. Would I ever go back to anime reviewing? I'm not too sure. Maybe after I finish Penalty X, which I know that, like, I won't be very lucky with it, but who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I would go back to anime reviewing. Though, I may want to review... If I were to go back to reviewing in general, I probably would want to review some other things, like maybe TV shows, cartoons, and heck, even Fanime. But yeah, that was that. So, this is ChapeyJC of YouTube signing out. Goodbye.